Hi guys, my name is Surpi Pathak. I am a foreign trained lawyer in Canada, which means I did my law school in India and then I moved to Canada and I am working on my qualifications to practice law in Canada as a lawyer now. So I moved here in 2016, and when I was coming here, I had zero guidance. I tried looking for people on LinkedIn and other platforms, but I really couldn't. And I think now that I have 3 years of experience in this whole process, I would really like to share it with you guys. So if you're a foreign trained lawyer like me, this video is going to be really helpful for you. What I'm planning to do is I'm planning to do a series of videos where I will be discussing each of the step in this process in a separate video. But for this video, this is just an introduction where I will be talking about the whole process in a nutshell, basically just what are the steps included in the process. So the first step is the NCA process. NCA is the National Committee of Accreditation. Basically, this is the committee that assesses your foreign law degree and decides what courses you need to take in Canada, so that your foreign degree can be equivalent to Canadian legal education. So basically, what you have to do is I'm talking more of a general. I am from India, but I think this process is same for everybody who studied law outside of Canada. So it doesn't really matter where you are from. Basically, what you need to do is you apply to NCA, and I'm going to upload their link in the description box. You can. It's a very handy, very easy to access kind of a website, so you can go there and see all the requirements and what are the exams and what is the fees, what is their timeline. But basically, so you apply to NCA. They have a self-assessment that they ask you to take. So you go there to their website, and then you'll see this link saying see if you can apply or if you're eligible to apply, and then you just fill out. So it's I think 3 or 4 questions. Basically, it's just going to ask, did you go to a full-time law school, was it online or just in class law school, and then which country, and based on that they give you your courses that you need to take. Usually they have 5 mandatory courses, which is basically Canadian administrative law, Canadian constitution law, Canadian criminal law, foundation of criminal Canadian law, and professional responsibility. So these are the 5 mandatory courses that everybody has to take. And then depending on whether you're from a civil law jurisdiction or how many courses you studied in your law degree, as part of your law degree, they can give you additional subjects on top of this. I think, if I'm not wrong, there are total 12 or 13 courses. But mostly people from India, especially if they have done the 5 year integrated program, they only get 5 mandatory courses. The application fees for NCA is 350 Canadian dollars plus taxes. I think back in 2016 when I paid my fees, it was somewhere around $400 roughly. So once you do your assessment, you apply to NCA, pay your fees. Then you have to send your transcripts. So you have to arrange for your original transcripts from your law programs, your LLB degree. And it has to come directly from your university or law school. You cannot send it by yourself, otherwise they're not going to accept it. So it has to be in a sealed envelope, and so you arrange for that. And in addition to that, you have to submit your resume, and then and an official letter or certificate of good standing from the bar association or bar council. So what I did was I actually went to Bar Council of India's office in Delhi, and they know this process. They're pretty good there. So I just kind of showed up because I couldn't reach them over the phone or email. So I just showed up, and then I told them that I want to send this letter to NCA, and they knew the process. So they just basically attested or certified the copy of my Bar Council certificate and Bar Council of Rajasthan certificate, which was my state Bar Council. And then they just give it to you, and then you can send it. You can arrange for it to be sent directly to NCA. So once you have your assessment, your NCA assessment, you just basically have to decide whether you want to take individual exams with NCA or you want to go to a Canadian law school. It really depends on you, like what you prefer. I did not want to, I'm not good at self studies, so I did not want to take individual exams, and I wanted to be in Canada, go to a Canadian law school, so I picked LLM. But I'm going to discuss that in a separate video. It's just what are the pros and cons of NCA and LLM common law both. But basically, if you want to go through the NCA process, it's just individual. So let's say you get 5 exams. There are 4 sittings in a year. Obviously, things are different now because of COVID, but you can go and check their website for any kind of updates. But yeah, so you can take exams in Canada, or if you're outside Canada, they offer exams in limited locations in the US, Europe, Australia, Jamaica, South Africa, and obviously India, like as mentioned before. So you can take these exams there, or you can come to Canada and you can take these exams here. If you want to go to a Canadian law school, there are a number of universities that offer Master of Law Common Law program. So basically, in the Master of Law program, you just pick your NCA courses. So what I did was I went to UBC, and I picked 5 of my NCA courses, and then on top of it, you have to complete your credits. So basically, for master's degree, I had to have 30 credits, so I picked other courses. They also had a research program which was mandatory for NCA students. So yeah, once you finish your master's program, you're either the director of your program or somebody in the administrative department sends a confirmation letter, and then you have to send your transcript. So it's a two-way process. Once there's a letter that goes to NCA from the university saying that this person has completed the LLM program and the NCA courses, and you have to arrange for your original mark sheet original transcript to be sent to NCA directly from the university. And then once the NCA committee receives your documentation from the university and they know that you have completed the NCA program, NCA courses, then they issue a certificate of qualification, which basically just says that now that you have completed your NCA courses, your education is equivalent to Canadian JD. Once you're done with that process, then you have to decide, obviously depending on what province you're in. I can only talk about BC, which is British Columbia, because I studied there, and then Ontario, because I did my licensing process in Ontario. If you're in Ontario, you have to register for their lawyer licensing process. Again, I would really like to mention that only apply for this process when you know that you're going to article and settle down in Ontario, because you have to finish this whole process within 3 years. So I was still in British Columbia and I registered for this process because I got to know about it, and I was like, I want to keep my options open, so I enrolled for Ontario program. But then so I kind of lost 1 year there. So just register for Ontario process when you're in Ontario. I think the application deadline sometime at the end of the year, which is in December. Yeah, so it's for the next. So I applied in 2016 for the 2017-18 licensing year, but you have to finish this whole thing within 3 years, which means you have to finish your articling in within those 3 years and your bar exam. If you're in British Columbia, you don't really have to register for anything in advance. Once you have your articling position, then you can register for the PLTC program. PLTC program is basically, I think, I am not 100% sure, but I think it's an 8-week program that you can do either before your articling, in between your articling, or at the end of your articling. I would like to talk more about Ontario because that's a process I have gone through and I know better about that. In Ontario, you register for this process, and you register for bar exams, and then you look for articling. You can so once you have your articling on the side, you have to finish your bar exams. There are two bar exams, so this goes hand in hand. You can take bar exams either before your articling, during your articling, after your articling. It doesn't really matter, it's totally up to you. It's So basically there are moving back to articling, there are three options. Either you can do a regular articling, so you basically apply for different positions and find an articling principal. It can be a sole practitioner or a law firm, and then you have to work there under the supervision of your articling principal for 10 months. And if you're these are pretty hard to find, but this is the best experience you're going to get, so I would highly recommend going through the articling process. Otherwise, you have the law practice program, which is the program kind of initiated by Law Society of Ontario. It's, again, I did not go to this program, but then I know people who attended this program, and they have really good things to say about it. So that's, again, if you don't want to waste your time looking for, like, waste would be a wrong term, but basically it's just I waited a long time to find articling. If you don't want to wait that long, you can apply for a law practice program, which is, again, 4 months of classes and assignments, and then 4 months of you know paid or unpaid work with an employer or law firm or in-house, whatever you get. And the third option is, if you have 10 months or more practice experience in a common law jurisdiction, you can apply for exemption from the experiential training or exemption from the articling program. So which is basically either they will waive it off completely, or you can apply for abridgment. So the Law Society will assess your experience, and they will say that, okay, just don't do it for 10 months, do it for a lesser duration. It really depends on them. So that's about articling. I am going to make a separate video and talk about the articling process, and how my experience was, and how I landed an articling position. Then moving on to the bar exams. So there are two bar exams in Ontario. One is the solicitor exam, and then there's the barrister exam. Again, because of COVID, the whole pattern and everything has changed. Initially, when I took the exam, it was still in-person 7-hour exam. So you go there one day. There's a 3.5-hour exam session, part one in the morning. Then there's a lunch break, and then there's 3.5-hour second session. Now they are taking online exams, and they have changed the duration to 4 hours, and it's, I think, 160 questions, but it is only until December 2020 as of now. So we don't really know if it's going to continue next year, or they're going to switch back to in-person exams. So it really depends on what updates we get from the Law Society, but as of now they're taking the exams online. Again, I would really recommend taking the bar exams before articling, because then otherwise it gets pretty hectic. But so yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's what you have to do. Basically, step one is NCA process. Step two is deciding whether you want to take NCA exams or you want to go to a Canadian law school for a master's degree. Third step is registering for the lawyer licensing program in your province, and then once you finish your articling, or if you have an exemption, then requirements for that, whatever requirements are there from the Law Society. And the fourth step is your bar exam, and once you finish all of that, you apply for a call to the bar. On an average, this whole process will take somewhere around 2 to 3 years. Again, it sounds very smooth, but it's not really that smooth. It's a daunting process, so you have to be really patient, really mentally prepared, mentally and financially prepared about this whole thing. Again, some tips I would like to mention are volunteering. So if you are in Canada, you can, it's always good to volunteer with pro bono organizations. networking really helps. So, either in person, or, you can just write emails to employers and ask them for a coffee meeting or lunch, whatever works for you and them, of course. And again, you could join a provincial bar association for, it's just networking and to get to know about what events they're having, and you can attend those events. That really helps. But yes, I would like to discuss everything in detail in separate videos, but this is basically just the gist of the whole process. If you have any questions, you can look for me on LinkedIn. I'm going to share my profile in the description box again. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions you have, and I hope this video was helpful. And yeah, good day. Take care.